atop Mount Manitoba, the base of NotInHallOfFame.com, we present the Hall of Fame show. I'm your host, Kirk Buchner. I operate, actually, I co-own, I co-operate, I co-do everything except for certain things. All the things you can do without actually meeting somebody, I think we've sort of managed to do. Okay, that went a little weird early, but whatever, that's okay. But here's what we own: NotInHallOfFame.com, the fictitious Athlete Hall of Fame, the fictitious Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I guess our favorite child together, the United States Athletic Hall of Fame, where the week after the Super Bowl, you, not just me, you, all of you, are going to decide who is going to be the first class of the United States Athletic Hall of Fame. You're going to vote www.nothalloffame.com/USA. And it's really exciting because no one's done it. No one has done it. We did it. We put our two heads together. After the clunk and after the eureka and the stars and the birds, whatever, this is what we've come up with. Long-winded opening, right?
Excellent. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. I was wondering, you said we co-everything. I'm like, we don't co-parent, but I guess we are co-parenting this.
Sure, absolutely. We don't cohabitate. We don't coagulate. We don't congregate. Is that a word? I don't know. I should have stopped it too, but everything's always in three.
Fair enough.
Yeah, last week we had a loaded show. And just again, one more, Mom, thank you to my great mother who's looking down at me in the sky. But last week was loaded and this week not so much. So you came up with an interesting thing, but do we go up with that first can I just do a bit of a smorgasbord?
Yeah, do a smorgasbord first, just so you know, we are going to be looking at the futures, or the immediate futures of each of the four halls in the four major sports here.
I did rock also.
In a second. So that's what you have that to look forward to on the other side of the smorgasbord.
Okay.
You did rock also. Oh, okay.
I did. I thought we were doing that, that's
fine. I will add. I can bullshit rock and roll, my friend.
Well, I know you can. So the smorgasbord, for people who are wondering, well, it's not just a great place where you can find some wonderful food. It's Kirk's smorgasbord of shit, where sometimes, not always, I might have something to say that is somewhat pertinent to what we talk about. And I want to bring up just really briefly, and just, I think you know how I get bothered by overreactions or underreactions. Usually it's overreaction. And here's my smorgasbord of shit. It's Kim Mulkey.
It's who?
Kim Mulkey. Yeah, it's who, exactly.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You know what's going on with her?
I didn't hear you. So.
Oh, you didn't hear it? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, with her inability to stand up for anybody.
Which I'm actually going to defend. And,
all right, go for it.
Yeah, so for those who were not aware, Kim Mulkey was the head coach for Brittany Griner at Baylor. And collectively, they won a national championship. I believe it was the first for Baylor. I could be off on that. But they had a bit of a contentious relationship after, maybe during, I don't know. I don't know the root of a lot of it. We only know Brittany's side because Kim doesn't talk much unless it's about basketball. And that was sort of evidence at a press conference where she was asked by one reporter one question, and then the second question, and just to follow up, but we haven't heard anything about about your opinion. I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly about your. Do you have any comments on the Brittany Griner situation? And then I believe he said, because I don't think I've ever heard anything from you. And then she said, and you won't, and then went on to the first question. So this wasn't a no comment. This was a nothing. Now, I've always believed that. I've sort of been a critic of some of the things, not all, but some of the things that LeBron has said. And I get pissed off when I hear some people say, just stick to sports. Nobody cares what you think. No, I don't care what your opinion. I want you to have an opinion, even if it's one I don't agree with. Voice it. Please do. Athletes, be vocal if you want to. Athletes, if you don't want to, that's fine too. Now, I'm guessing, and again, I'm no psychiatrist, never played one on TV. I don't know the whole thing. All I know is Brittany had said that she was very dismissive about her sexuality and told her to keep it quiet. Which I don't know if you ever looked at Brittany Griner for the first time and said, I wonder what guy she's dating. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't exactly a big surprise when she came out, I think right after college, but I guess she decided she felt that she couldn't. All right. That was 10 years ago, which isn't that long ago, but it was a different time. So was it advice Kim gave? Was it not? Was it wrong? Kim never said one way or the other. One way or the and again,
she was also a Baylor though, which is a super Catholic.
That's true too. That's also true. And I want to again be very clear. I'm not saying I'm pro Kim Mulkey. I'm not. I'm just saying sometimes, we were taught, and you did this on the show a year ago, because you always take care of the people, or you talk care of the people who passed away. And there was someone who came up who died and you didn't want to talk about it because you had nothing nice to say. So you just said, screw it, I'm just not going to go there. Mm-hmm. And you didn't. And obviously we respected that, and we're not going to say who it was because it's not relevant. It's not fucking relevant. So yeah, she's not coming out to support. She's not coming out to denigrate either. She said nothing. She didn't even give no comment. I don't know. That's not how I would have handled it. I would have went the PC route personally. And I'm sure whatever relationship they have or had or don't have anymore, it is kind of awful if basically, this is what people think, and we don't know, that Kim Mulkey might be thinking, I hope she rots in jail. We don't know that's what she thinks. We don't. Only Kim knows that, or I'm sure some people in her close circle. And if she would have came out and said, I really hope everything worked out for the best, a lot of the same people who are criticizing her would say, oh, you don't mean it. She's fucked either way, which is probably why she avoided it up until this time. I feel weird defending Kim Mulkey because I'm not, when I heard that, by the first time I heard that, like, man, that's cold. But then I thought about it. Yeah, it's cold, but what do you want her to say? What is it that would placate the masses?
Well, I don't think that saying I hope everything works out for the best would placate the masses, but I think the message she is sending by not having any comment, refusing to speak about it, is if I am a recruit who's looking to go to a school, I do not think Kim Mulkey would ever have my back.
Especially if I was gay or black. Especially the gay.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think Kim Mulkey would ever have my back. So I think she completely blew herself up there.
Sure.
There's no comment. It's so easy just to give a platitude, and some people may not say the platitude is enough, but at least it's something.
And it probably wouldn't have gotten any notice at all. She wouldn't have trended on Twitter. There wouldn't have been a lot of people coming out and attacking her. Megan Rapinoe wouldn't have came out and said, this woman is evil. Like, we're playing fast and loose with the word evil. And I'm not going to go into attack on Megan Rapinoe. I'm not going to do that. But you're evil for saying nothing? Come on. It was a bad call. I think we can agree on that. Yeah. It's going to hurt recruiting at LSU, which is where she is now. And she was going to be my elevator down if she wasn't already in the Hall. And to that point, is she in the Hall of Fame without Brittany Griner? And I've been very harsh on Brittany Griner to a certain point. I mean, for those wondering what that basically means, like, oh, you want her in jail? No, I want her out of jail. I think it's a stupid thing to be arrested for, but I don't exactly. She went in bed with a Russian oligarch. And when she outlived that usefulness, that's what happens. LIV, we're talking to you guys.
Just a warning story to all the LIV golfers.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean,
just a warning story for all the LIV golfers. Sorry, dude, I'm going to pause you right there because my bandwidth is so bad right now from where I'm sitting. Okay. I'm going to just move. Give me a second and we'll be right back. Okay.
All right. For those wondering why I don't sort of like have a test pattern when that sort of occurred, I'm just too lazy to do that. Also, I just realized I had a hat on right before. Now I don't. So let's just sort of like put that back on.
We're going to have all sorts of comments and continuity errors and everything, but at least now you're not entirely pixelated. So the 15 feet I have moved to my house, apparently it's made all the difference.
Being entirely pixelated might have improved a Tinder profile if I ever had to have one. Thank God I got married before the days of cell phones and Tinder, because like there's just no angle to make that look good. Sorry, too much info. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I'll just sort of close off. I just sort of like, again, the vitriol towards somebody who I think just went her old school route thinking, I don't like this woman, so I'm not going to talk about it. You're not going to believe me anyway. Let's move on. I don't think she understands how that came off, especially from someone with such a gruff look and voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what I think of the term Karen, but she sure looks like one, right? Kind of.
I mean, just give the Belichick answer, like a non-answer answer. Like Belichick is Mac Jones playing this week? We're taking it day by day. Like that's at least a better answer that I refuse to even acknowledge this question. We're moving on.
That wasn't even that was way more words than what they actually got.
I know.
Yeah, no, yeah. I think it was like I support completely her answer. I kind of get where it's coming from, maybe because I'm old or something like that. But I was getting pissed off. Like, see, this woman's obviously off. Like most of it, we don't know what history these two people have had together.
That's true.
We don't know. We don't even I'm sure that there's a lot of she said in this one, and I don't know if it's true or not, and we're not going to. But I think this was a big deal out of not a whole hell of a lot, and 3 words that is going to cost her from ever winning a title again. And that's really weird to me. I honestly think that, but whatever. Whatevs. But Evan, you brought up this great idea because like we thought like shit, we don't have a whole lot going on. I think even your death march isn't going to be that big. So you sent me a message and said, okay, why don't we just predict and we're just going to make another beer bet. What am I down for? I'm never.
You're down 4. Yeah.
I'm down 4. So it's just sort of like a real fun one where we're going to pick the next 15 Hall of Fame. Well, we're going to get 3 in each major and on all the sports. And I guess the only difference will be on where we differ.
Yeah. I sure.
Just want to do it that way, just so I mean we're only betting at beer, so let's not make it too.
Yeah. I was gonna say I was thinking maybe we do a draft on it, but if you want to do it this way, that is fine.
Okay. All right. So when we just sort of like do the over, if I win or lose by 2 or 3, then that's the amount of beers.
Sure.
Okay. Where do you want to start? Because like I've already sent you the list, so you know that I've already got it locked in.
I have not looked at the list.
No, but I mean like we'll say it after so that. I mean, if anyone's more honest than Evan, I haven't met him yet, or have I? So
I have you all fooled. That's one of the first things they teach you in law school. So actually, sort of on that thing, I just complete aside. I still get the ABA journal, even though not having been an attorney for almost a decade. And the ABA journal the other day was like, are lawyers evil because of fiction, or is fiction lawyers evil because we're evil? And I'm like, you guys are just default believing that all lawyers suck. It was really very funny.
I love how you still put yourself as a we.
Yeah, well, it was the headline for that. I do not. I was never wanted to be a lawyer in the first place, which is kind of a weird thing to say for something you have to go to school for 5 years to do. But
I wasn't going to comment on that. I was going to let you finish that.
For 3 years to do.
Yeah.
I was on the 5-year plan. Anyway. All right. So let's start with baseball.
Okay. Do you want mine first? Well, actually, you give yours first.
Oh, hold on. I got to pull up my.
Or well, I have mine then if you want.
Yeah. Why don't we start with yours?
Okay. So here's my 3. I've got Scott Rowland, Carlos Beltran, and Todd Helton. Those are my 3.
Scott Rowland, Carlos Beltran,
Todd Helton,
and Todd Helton.
Obviously, if none of them get in, which is possible, then
it's possible.
Yeah.
So just by the way, if in terms of who's up for a Hall, first ballot, if it's not Carlos Beltran, your backup person is probably John Lackey. So let's just say there's a gap between first and second. No offense to John Lackey or Jason Worth or Jacoby Ellsbury or Bronson Arroyo or any of the other people, Ubaldo Jimenez.
Some good players.
There are some good players, but I'm not sure that anyone's waiting for JJ Hardy's speech to the Hall.
Not even Mrs. Hardy.
That is probably true.
Yeah.
So I'll just make things different. I'll go with the same first you do and Rowland and Beltran, because I think those are the 2 who are probably getting in. Here's the question. Are we going with the other committees at all or no?
I'm going to say yes, because we didn't say no. So if you've got something from another committee, take it.
Well, let me just make sure I know which committee we're doing this year. Baseball.
We just said all. So yeah, we didn't say non players either. So
True.
Not that I've got anything off of that, but I kind of do maybe, but you'll see later.
All right. So 2023 is the contemporary baseball era. So I'm going Fred McGriff.
Ooh. So our different. So basically, the difference here is Helton McGriff.
Helton versus McGriff. Yep.
Two people who have never been in my kitchen, and I don't know if they would talk if we actually went out for dinner. Okay, interesting. All right, there we go. So that's interesting. So I guess I'll continue. So football, I kind of cheated. Not really.
Okay.
I just went with all three.
We all sort of know on football.
Yeah, I went with the three senior candidates. I went.
That is cheating, but we'll go with it.
Is it?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I was kidding, but go ahead.
Klecko, Riley, Howley. Those are my three. We just said Hall.
Joe, Klecko, Chuck Howley, and who's the other one? I forgot.
Ken Riley.
Ken Riley, of course.
I mean, I could have thrown Joe Thompson one of them, but I'm assuming you're going to take.
I'll go the other way. I'm going to say Joe Thomas. Who else do I want to go with here? Because I was thinking we were going to do a draft originally. I didn't prepare the other way. So hold on one second. Sorry. No, that's fine. I didn't tell you this.
We're trying to fill time.
Any sort of conversation is more planning than we ever do for this thing.
Don't make me do a spit take.
I'm sorry. I should wait till after you're done. So I'm going with DeMarcus Ware and Zach Thomas.
Yeah, and if I would have went, that would have been the three I would have taken if I just didn't think, well, wait a minute, I could go this route. So I did. So I think that could be a push.
Yeah, it may very well be a push. Yours, you have almost, I would say, as my dad used to say, the Ivory Soap percentage of getting everything in. Because Ivory Soap is not 100% pure. It's 98.44% pure.
Is it 90? I was trying to remember what the number was. I mean, it's certainly better than 4 to 5 dentists.
That is true. Yeah, because there's actually a commercial with Ivory said years ago, I want to clean this real ivory. I want to clean this 90. Oh, I think it's 97.44. So it's 97.44% pure, apparently, ivory.
At least this one will be interesting. I think basketball won't be, because I'd be shocked if you don't have the same three I do. Nowitzki, Wade, Gasol.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of why I was looking. This is actually the reason I want to do the draft. Because Nowitzki, Dwayne Wade, and Pau Gasol.
Yeah, but we just needed a bet. We haven't had a bet in a while. And
yeah, you know what? Just to make it interesting, I will do Nowitzki and Wade because there's no way both of them are getting in.
Yeah.
And I will take Tony Parker.
That's her, and that's not a bad bet. Parker versus Gasol.
Parker, they may both get in, but let's just. I mean, I think there are 4 first ballot locks, and so. But if they only go with 3, it's either going to be Gasol and Parker.
It's possible. I haven't really looked at who's sort of like coming up after, because like they could give him the Chris Bosh treatment and just say, well, fuck, we need a name.
Yeah, but the difference is with the Bosh, it was Garnett, Duncan, and Bryant, who are 3 of the 20 greatest players of all time. No offense to Pau Gasol and or Tony Parker, those guys are not.
Okay, but let's go here for a minute. I got super excited a couple weeks ago. I think I tweeted this briefly, and then I found out nothing. And what it was, ESPN had an inside look on the Basketball Hall of Fame committee. Like, holy shit! Finally, I'm going to know who's on it. And it was 2,000 words that tells us we don't know who's on the fucking committee, but we should trust them.
Yeah.
So I guess where I'm going with this is it wouldn't surprise me just if they say, yeah, let's just keep this one back because we got to sell tickets. That's where I'm going, because there's no transparency in this. No. 0. And I don't even know why ESPN did that shit piece. Well, they do a lot of shit pieces. Only because when you have so much to write, you're going to come up with shit pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So this one, I'm really interested here. So here's my hockey. So I've got McGillney. I think Lundqvist is going to get in. But here's my wild card. And I don't know if you would have picked her, but I'll let you run with her with this. I've got Jennifer Botterill.
Ooh,
because I thought she was going to get in last year.
you did.
I did. So like I was more surprised that she didn't get in than Alfred. No, I thought Alfredson was due. So I'm running with her as because they're going to put a woman in. If they are, like, I don't know. I forget the name of the lady who sides.
Yeah, she was. There was no question though on her. Like once we found out who she was, I can't remember. She was a goaltender for.
No, she's not a goalie, but she played for Finland and like
She played for Finland. I thought it was Finland. I can't remember
yeah,
exactly what.
but I mean like, and I'm blanking on her name. So if you just happen to be listening from Helsinki, sorry, but Evan and I do think
we're actually much bigger in Espoo.
I don't know if you know this, but we went number 8 in Belgium.
So okay,
I got that quote wrong, but yeah. So I think Botterill's my lock more than Lundqvist. I really
interesting.
Do. So
well, the other first ballot potential people who are up this year, other than Lundqvist, are Corey Crawford, who I don't think is significantly better than other people like Mike Richter or Tom Barrasso or others who are waiting, and Lundqvist is already coming. And Justin Williams, I don't know if he's a first ballot. I mean, with how long it took Alfredson to get in, I don't know if Justin Williams, other than he would be very good for the other Hall of Fame we've been talking about, the playoff Hall of Fame, Mr. Game 7.
Justin Williams has got 0.0 shot at this. He's not even in my hockey 300.
All right. Well, I'm just telling you who the top people are, unless you are going Dave Bomeister or Andre Markov or Dustin Bufflin.
I'd rather have Jay Bomeister on my team, Frank.
You'd rather Bomeister? Fair enough. So the point is,
that's worth, which is nothing. But anyway, go ahead.
The point is, it's Lundqvist and then 2 other people.
Mm-hmm.
So using the rankings from this website I found called Not in Hall of Fame, there's a hockey section. I don't know if anyone's heard about this.
Good.
And the number 2 person, someone named Alexander McGillney, who you already took. That's not fun.
So it's all about what you disagree with.
Yeah. Well, let's make this fun. It's no fun if we're picking the same people over and over. We already got one.
You're giving me charity on this one, though. But all right.
No, I'm gonna go with. So I think they're going to put an American in. Now the question is it going to be Roenick or Leclerc? Roenick won't shut up. Leclerc is the guy I'm going with.
That's a good one. That's a very good
John
one.
Leclerc.
Okay.
And just because Alfredson is in, I don't care what you people in Canada say. Pierre Turgeon.
I knew you were going to do that. I knew you were going to do that. Okay, that's okay.
Like, if I feel like if Turgeon gets in, I should get a bonus point.
You should, especially. I'll tell you what. Fine, I'll go with that as long as I get a bonus point on this one, the rock one. Here's my bonus point, Bella Cootie.
Oh, 100%. You'll get a bonus point on Fella.
And here's my other 2. I think you'll like this. I think you'd be happy if I'm right. Shaka Khan and Kate Bush.
Well, I think Kate Bush is getting in.
Okay, so Kate Bush is one of yours. So.
Can you imagine a situation where 10 years ago, you're like, oh, I have 3 locks to the Rock Hall: Fela Kuti, Chaka Khan, and Kate Bush.
No, which is why this is so awesome. Well, here's something I think you'll get a kick out of. So my wife, who's not as much into music as I am, but she just loves to play, but she just likes to be happy. So she'll just play whatever, like a lot of like iTunes radio or whatnot. And it's a running up here is playing on that. And she's just popping around. You know when that song was made? This year? I was like, no, she had no idea who Kate Bush was.
Yeah, of course not.
Yeah. Which is kind of it's fascinating. And I don't know, I can't say that I know that much about her personally, but I mean, if anyone deserves this renaissance, I don't know that there's that many more people than Kate Bush. I'm really happy to see more people discover her. You know?
Yeah, 100%. So other ones who are eligible for the first time this year, this isn't a really great incoming.
No, but which is why it's all over the board. That's why I went with 3 nods. Yeah,
Will Smith punched his way out of this, or slapped his way out of this. But like, if you go down the list here, like we're talking, I'm just going over the biggest names: 98 Degrees, Black Eyed Peas. These are people who released their first album in '97.
Yeah.
Destiny's Child.
be interesting. Maybe
That
Creed.
yeah.
Creed.
Hmm.
God, who else? There's so many of them. Just like I don't want to mention, Flogging Molly, although I love them. Missy Elliott, Muse, Puff Daddy, who had a tough time getting in, even the Rock Hall one that we did, the other thing, Reconsidered. Queens of the Stone Age, Sia, Sigur Rós.
See you later with that one.
Yeah. I mean, Third Eye Blind. It's not a great group of first ballots.
No.
And then but it's great for one hit wonders. You got Eagle Eye Cherry, Hanson, Harvey Danger.
Hanson's not a one-hit wonder.
I know. So, so the moral of the story is, unless you're really a big Missy Elliott person getting in the first time, which I think she'll get in. I don't think she's getting in the first time. I think we're going to head back to some old standbys that we have. I'm sticking with Kate Bush, just like you are, just because I don't think there's any way after this Renaissance, all the people who've wanted to vote for her but didn't want to waste focus and think she get in are now going to feel like there's a legitimate shot of her getting in. So I'll go with Kate Bush. I will go with. Got to figure out who comes after. Last time we got Pat Benatar and the Eurythmics in. Go-Go's are in. So who's the next 80s? You know what? I'm gonna stick with Dionne Warwick.
That's a good one too. It's a really good one.
Who's been nominated now a couple times. And let's go with someone who's never been nominated on a wild card here. Let's go with. Let's see. Let's go with. Man, it's so hard. Let's go with Oasis.
Yeah, I almost went with one with them too. So
let's try to decide between Oasis and at some point Motley Crue is going to be nominated, and as soon as they are, they're in. But it's just weird.
I would think so. Yeah. I would think so.
Oh, and there are other ones who I think are in if they ever get nominated. But the question is this year they nominate New Order, right?
I almost picked the Smiths too.
Yeah, so if the Smiths get nominated at this point, I think they get in.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see the Replacements again.
Nah,
they were out of 10 years ago, 12 years ago, whenever it was, they're out of left field. Now I feel it's more.
I don't know, man. It's a lot of it too is momentum and what people are talking about.
True.
And they've really not been talked about in any capacity in how long, really, in any kind of major stage. And do they really have one of those songs that you can see that's sort of going to get rediscovered?
Yeah, that's true.
It's granted, I probably wouldn't have said Running Up That Hill 2 years ago. If we would have said, oh yeah, that's going to re-debut at number 1 in the UK. I told you, F off, right? So, but
I'm telling you, Suzanne Vega's Renaissance is around the corner.
My name is Luca. I live on the 2nd floor. I hated that song. Anyway, speaking of things that I hate, death.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. So I have everything here. So the differences are Todd Helton versus Fred McGriff.
Okay.
Then we have, you did the 3 senior candidates. You can get all 3. I did Joe Thomas, DeMarcus Ware, and Zach Thomas. You have Alexander McGillney and Jennifer Bonnerill. I have John Leclerc and Pierre Turgeon. We have Paul Pau Gasol versus Tony Parker. And then it is Fela Kuti and Chaka Khan versus Dionne Warwick and Oasis.
I think I got a shot to make some of this shit back.
I think you do. I think
I think you're feeling bad for the chairman is what I think you're doing. I think you're trying to give me
maybe. I like going out on the limb a little bit more. I'm 0-3 in fantasy football, so it's totally working out after I won the championship last year. So
holy shit, this is bizarre world. I'm 3-0.
Oh my God. Now, I made the mistake of trusting Russell Wilson on Monday Night Football. So anyway, although had he just completed that pass to Jerry Jeudy, I would have won. So
I've just been very fortunate. But yeah, so now we got the section where Evan tells us, all the people who we lost. And I don't think it's a big list. I only know one person for sure you're going to bring up, but.
Yeah. Hold on. There's a 8-player deal between the Rockets and Oklahoma City.
Okay, live reaction. Tell me. I want to know.
Centered around Derek Favors.
Yeah, I'm not that interested anymore.
No, it's just weird. Ty Jerome, Theo Maladon, and Mo Harkless and Favors to the Rockets for David Nwaba, Sterling Brown, Trey Burke, and Marquise Chris. That is very, very boring. Anyway.
When my favorite player out of an 8-player deal is Maladon.
Yeah.
And I'm not being sarcastic. That's actually true, but still.
I can't. There's something I never disliked Marquise Chris. There's just something about him. Anyway, we did lose a Hungarian athlete, as always.
The beige mistress is back. We've got a cat.
Yeah, it's one a week now. I apologize to everybody in Budapest and Pest and Szeged and all the cities of Hungary because I have no way how to pronounce this name. There are so many accents on it, but it was Ildiko Zandrodi Kovari, who is a Hungarian alpine skier competing in the 1952 and 64 Winter Olympics. Passed away at the age of 92.
Kovari. Oh. Man, Hungary's got so many great athletes. You don't even think about it. You just don't. All these great countries in Eastern Europe and some of the. Like I think I look at Jokic. I wonder how many people actually can tell you what country he comes from.
I'm sorry.
How many people can tell you? Okay, Jokic is the best player in the NBA right now. What country is he from?
Serbia, right?
Yeah. Or is it Slovenia? So sometimes I'm confused.
It's former Yugoslavia, but his name ends in C with a soft C, so he's probably Yugoslavian on some level.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, the last, I could be wrong on this, but I think the last 4 NBA MVPs, although it's technically it's the same too, but the last 4 years of MVPs have not been American.
True.
And I'll predict right now it's going to be another non-American, Joel Embiid. That's my preseason pick for MVP this year.
Not a bad pick. Embiid had a legitimate argument last year. So
Yes, he did. So there you go. It'll be 5 years in a row. I'm not going to check it out, but I guarantee that's never happened before.
No, of course it hasn't happened before. I mean, who else has won? Nowitzki and Elijah.
Nash.
Oh, Nash. That's right.
But that wasn't a 5-year stretch.
No. So anyway, on to other people who had something to do with snow.
Informer? He died?
What?
Snow died?
No. I was talking about the Hungarian skier.
Yeah.
So Hillary Nelson, one of the great mountaineers of the world, passed away at the age of 49. She and her husband were skiing on Mount Manaslu in Nepal, and she fell to her death. So first woman to basically, I mean, just everything. She and her husband were the first people to ski down the dream line, the summit of Lhotse Kulur, which is one of the hardest places to ski in the world. They were the first people ever to do it. The first ski descent of like a whole bunch of things. First to ski all 5 holy peaks among Mongolian Altai, just like one of the great adventure mountaineer people in the history of the world.
I don't mean to sound. This is not a joke, but she died how she lived. Good on her.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. But yeah, she passed away at the age of 49.
Well,
yeah, I know. Born same year as you, but in December, so she didn't quite make it there.
Well, yeah. Well, I think she's got a lot more adventures to tell than I do. Well, I guess not anymore.
Yeah, probably true. Two very old people who have nothing to necessarily do what we're talking about, but I want to bring up anyway, who passed away. Dean Caswell passed away, the last of the flying aces of the U.S. Marine Corps. Passed away at the age of 100, the last one from World War II. So Silver Star, 2 distinguished flying crosses, and 5 air medals. Flew from 42 to 68. Passed away at the age of 100. And also do-gooder, British-born American pediatric oncologist Audrey Evans, best known for creating the Ronald McDonald House
Oh,
in Philadelphia. Legitimate, wonderful, good do-gooder, worked her entire career to help make kids' lives better, passed away at the age of 97.
very good dirty, yeah.
Yeah, she got married for the first time when she was 80 to a man she had known since 1953 when they were both working at Boston Children's Hospital. So,
Oh man, can you imagine that courtship?
yeah, it was a slow one.
Yeah, I guess so. Took 10 years just to get her to return a phone call.
Yeah. Just coming in right before this, we got on the air here from the NFL. Gavin Escobar passed away, the tight end of the Cowboys, who is, if you ever look, there's a stupid list that goes around all the time, one of those listicles of the worst draft pick of every team ever. And for some reason, the Cowboys one has been Gavin Escobar as a second round tight end who nobody remembered. But he passed away at the age of 31 while mountain climbing, and lost his grip and fell to his death while rock climbing. So at the age of only 31.
Mountains, 2 people, nothing.
Yes, very much so. Hold on here. Also for football, original New York Jet Nick Mumley passed away at the age of 85. Was drafted played at Purdue, was All-American, second team All-American in 1957, drafted by the Eagles and refused to play for them and played for the New York Titans instead.
Oh.
But he passed away at the age of 85.
What do we know why he refused to play for the Eagles?
He wanted to give the AFL a shot. I don't actually know the full reason.
Interesting. All right.
From the world of wrestling, Starman passed away. Mexican professional wrestler, whose name we do not know because the Lucha Libre guys keep everything very, very quiet. But he passed away at the age of 47.
Would it be wrong for me to belt out Starman by Bowie?
It's never wrong to belt out Bowie about anything, except for China Girl, which always makes me feel awkward.
There's a Starman! That's all I'll do. I don't want to wake up my wife.
Well, if there was life on Mars, we just killed it.
I'm so glad there was not a drink in mouth when you did that. Well done. That was well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't normally bring up people who pass away from the Japanese Baseball League, but he was one of the more interesting people.
Okay.
Masaaki Ikanaga passed away at the age of 76. He was the Rookie of the Year in 1965, a 5-time All-Star, and the leader in wins and complete games in 1967.
Mm-hmm.
Passed away at the age of 76. But more interestingly, he was one of the people implicated in the Black Mist scandal.
What's that?
Which sounds like it's out of Dungeons and Dragons. It was a game fixing scandal that took place between 69 and 71 in Japan.
Oh.
So he was one of the major people who was caught up in this. So yeah, it was just one of those things. I was like, what is the Black Mist scandal? And yeah, it was a match fixing scandal that took place in the late 60s and early 70s. So in Japan.
That's the thing with the Japanese. They just make everything sound so ominous. They can't just say gambling scandal.
No, the Black Mist scandal.
Yes. Whereas the Chinese, they would have called it the Lucky Dragon scandal.
That is true. I would have had a cat applauding the whole thing.
Okay, that's not going to age well even now. But anyway.
No, yeah, there are very many things that my wife does not like, but those lucky cats are probably among the things that freak her out most in the entire world. So anyway, everybody else we lost was from music. So we're going to start with one of the greatest record collectors of all time, Joe Buzzard, who had a collector of 78 RPM records. How many does he have? He's unsure. It's somewhere between 15 and 25,000.
Well, how do we know he's the best if he's unsure of
I said one of the best. I didn't say
Okay.
the best.
All right.
But he had a whole bunch of the 1920s and 30s gospel, jazz, and blues albums that he was big and collected. He said that the greatest recording ever was "Dark Was the Night, Cold Was the Ground" by Blind Willie Johnson. So there you go. He passed away from pancreatic cancer at the age of 86. We also lost Sue Mingus, American record producer and band manager, married to Charles Mingus.
Oh, good. Yeah, I was wondering. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Formed tribute groups to perform in music after his death. She won a Grammy in 2011 on her 5th nomination. I'm trying to see what that was for. I didn't actually look that up. Best Large Jazz Ensemble Album. She was also nominated 97, 99, 03, and 07.
Large jazz ensemble. Well, like, what's the cutoff?
I don't know. More than a trio.
Okay.
So Charles Mingus died on my birthday, I believe. Literally the day I was born in 1979. I think he died January 5th because I've done one of those things. Who died the day you were born? Sort of situation. But she took over to his legacy from there. He died of Lou Gehrig's disease. She passed away at the age of 92.
So if we were to believe the Buddhists, there's a chance you might be Charles Mingus.
I was born at 4:07 in the morning. Charles Mingus didn't die until 8:35.
How the hell did you know?
I've looked it up before because, believe me, my friend, that has come to my mind.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I know way too much about Charles Mingus.
This is just when I thought I was like throwing you something way outside. You just sort of like step over, not on the plate so that it's legal, and you just crank a 500-yard shot. That's awesome.
I am a very, very odd man about certain things, but like if someone died the day I was born, I want to know everything about them. So I know a lot about Charles
I've never even done that. I should. You know, that's my homework. That's gonna be
look it up.
If we have absolutely no Hall of Fame news, it's all going to be like me talking about all the people who I could be if the Buddhists were right. In sort of that Benjamin Button 24-hour window. Is it a 24-hour window? I don't fucking know. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do.
Fair enough. From the band Hit the Lights, which is a pop punk band from Ohio, their lead guitarist Kyle Matey passed away in a truck crash earlier this week at the age of 31.
Awful. 30.
Then we come to the greatest sidemen of all time, passed away this week. First, with the awesomely named Pharoah Sanders. His real name is Pharrell Sanders, but he went by Pharoah. Jazz saxophonist, called by John Coltrane as the greatest alto saxophonist of all time.
If John Coltrane calls you the greatest anything in music, then you're the greatest. That's it.
Yeah. And in the words of, I'm sorry, I take that back. It wasn't him. It was Ornette Coleman called him that, who's also one of the greatest.
Close enough.
Time. Yeah. But as Albert Ayler once said, when it came to music, Coltrane was the father, Pharoah's the son, and I am the Holy Ghost of jazz music. But he was one of the greatest. He was playing all the way through until recently. He passed away at the age of 81 at his home. Another one, Ray Edenton, passed away as well. One of the Nashville A-listers passed away at the age of 90, or the A-team, excuse me, passed away at the age of 95. You would know him for his work on the guitar in the Everly Brothers' Bye Bye Love and Wake Up Little Susie. Marty Roberts singing the blues, and Roger Miller's King of the Road. Also played with, you ready for this list of random people? Julie Andrews, the Beach Boys, Sammy Davis Jr., Henry Mancini, Reba McEntire, Elvis Presley, Leon Russell, and Neil Young.
Pretty good.
Not bad. Played in over 12,000 recordings in his career.
I love it when you talk about sidemen.
The sidemen just don't get enough love.
No.
But yeah, 12,000 recordings.
Incredible.
Yeah. But yeah, he passed away at the age of 95.
Mhm.
And someone who unfortunately did not make it that far and is remembered for the wrong song. Artist Leon Ivy Jr., better known as Coolio,
Oh, I didn't know his real name.
passed away at the age of 59. I always say he's remembered for the wrong song because everyone thinks of Gangsta's Paradise, but Fantastic Voyage is a much
Love Fantastic Voyage. Slide, slide, slippity slide.
Yeah, that song is fantastic.
Literally.
And the music video for that is also awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, he passed away. He was over his longtime agent's house. He went to the bathroom, took a long time coming out, and he's found dead on the floor of the bathroom. Apparently had a heart issue and passed away.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay. Because when I didn't see that a couple days ago.
Yeah. But he is in the 90s, there was a time from like 95 through 98, there was almost nobody bigger than Coolio.
Coolio, because it wasn't all that long ago where, shameless plug here, where we looked at Gangsta's Paradise on my other award-winning show. How the hell did this go number one? And I was sort of calling that one of the first true kind of pop rap hybrids. And I think it was a gateway for an awful lot.
Mm-hmm.
I truly do. I still do. I don't know that it's really fair that he kind of became a bit more of a punchline later, which he shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But he kind of did in some circle. I think that's sort of the problem, though, when you sort of like do one sort of thing with your look, and you don't know when not to stop doing it. And I'm sort of like referring to just like the braids everywhere, like the last few pictures you see of him where he's balding a lot of places, but he's still just got two big. I'm assuming he was balding. I don't know that for sure, but you see that over and over. Hell, you elected a president like that. but it's that's not how I'm going to remember him. I'm going to remember him for some great songs in my college days.
Yep.
And that's who he is to me.
And unfortunately, one of the other things he's remembered for is threatening Weird Al, threatening to put a hit out on Weird Al from Amish Paradise.
Whoa, I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah. So Weird Al cleared it with his representation.
Yeah.
And then Coolio found out about it and threatened to put a hit out on him. And then years later, he was asked about it multiple times. He's like, dude, that was one of the dumbest things I've ever done. I wish I had better representation at the time. Who told me, like, this guy's parodying Michael Jackson. You're going to be okay. And he's like, I was wrong on that. I admit I'm wrong. If you screw up, you got to admit it. It's like, I just didn't know any better. I was taking myself too seriously. I've listened to Weird Al's covered. It's completely not what I expected, but really, really funny. That's what it came down to. That was one of those things that came out a lot as well. Coolio.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Won an AMA in 96 as a favorite rap / hip hop artist.
Mm-hmm.
Won a Grammy for best rap solo performance for Gangsta's Paradise.
Mm-hmm.
And won 2 MTV Music Awards for Gangsta's Paradise, best rap video and best video from a film, and won best dance video in 96 as well for 1, 2, 3, 4 something new. Remember that one?
Not really.
I'm
sure I would if I heard it.
Yeah, passed away at the age of 59. Also, and a lot of movies and TV shows, which you may or may not remember. So, including the theme song to Kenan and Kel.
Never saw it.
Yeah, oh, there you
go. A lot of the whole Nickelodeon things. Also, we didn't have Nickelodeon in Canada.
Fair enough.
So I don't know when. I'm sure something was broadcasting that, but by that point, I was not into the programs for that demographic.
Understood. All right, let's go to your elevator up and down.
Yeah, so this section, everyone, it's who do I think over the past week has made a better Hall of Fame case, or who hasn't? Hence, elevator up, elevator down. And I have no elevator up. I mean, in theory, there's one that's super obvious, but I'm not going to go there because it's too obvious. Let's just say it is, maybe Aaron Judge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but that leads to an elevator down. Roger Maris, by the end of the season, will no longer have the American League record for most home runs in a season. He will no longer have the most home runs by any New York Yankee in a season. He will no longer have, I guess, the unofficial, untainted record for most home runs in a season. That's done. It's going to be done. And that was something that a lot of people could hold their hat on, and now you can't. So Roger Maris will come up again for different veterans committees. I'm a huge believer that Maris should be in, because I think the key word sometimes we forget is fame. And if we go by that, it's not the Hall of Stats, it's the Hall of Fame. And Roger Maris over a 1 year period or 2 year period, because he was a 2-time MVP back to back. Not many people can say that. People forget he was an MVP in 1960.
Mm-hmm.
Roger Maris in that 2 year period accomplished so much when even his own team didn't want him to do it, or it's his own team's fans.
Right.
And I'm sure
right.
some people on that team, in upper management, I'm sure, they wanted Mansell to do it. And I can't even imagine the shit that he went through. And Billy Crystal did this great HBO movie, 61, Asterisk 61. Check it out if you haven't already.
Barry Pepper was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's something that I think this will hurt him in the long run as things sort of like progress, because you can't say he is the holder of this, because he's not anymore.
He still holds the record for most home runs in the season by someone from North Dakota.
So here's a useless fact I know. I now know that living in the great province above North Dakota, I'm only a few hours away from the Roger Maris Hall of Fame, or I think is in a mall or something. But if I am ever in Fargo, which I think it's in Fargo, I'm going to check it out.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So no, that's my only elevator down, because as much as we're deep in all these seasons, I mean, I had a couple interesting ones that I thought I might look at for elevator up, but yeah, sometimes it's almost like I try too hard just to come up with something.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring up the fame part, though. I actually was bored this week and watched the MLB Network's thing on the career of Steve Garvey.
Oh,
and how Steve Garvey was loved the limelight and was probably the most famous player in baseball while he was playing. Because Steve Garvey's a name.
He's up there, yeah.
Yeah, Steve Garvey's a name I know. I never really saw him play, and I've seen his stats and everything, but I didn't know a huge background into Garvey.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, but if you're just going by fame, I mean, he and Mattingly and a few others are going to be right at the top on that. So, but maybe it's just because if you're playing in LA or New York, it's different than if you're playing in Kansas City or Arizona.
Well, and he was sort of like depending on how you saw baseball, either the best player on the best team in the National League for a few years.
Yeah.
Super good looking.
Yeah. Still is a silver fox in the thing they're doing on him.
Okay, yeah. Knew how to work the media. And which is probably also why you'd hear stories. I think, who was it who wanted to knock the crap out of him on the team? I think it was Reggie Smith. Or the two of them got, apologies if I got this wrong. Or it might have been Garvey who wanted to knock the crap out of Reggie Smith because he went to the paper and said that, Garvey thinks he's the best player on this team and he's not. Or something to that effect. I don't know the whole thing, but I think it was actually Garvey who was looking to throw down.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but yeah, that's sort of an interesting thing. Sometimes that's how I can make the case in hockey for Paul Henderson.
Mm.
And I have to some people.
You have.
Not a lot of people agree with me on that. Fine, whatever.
Sorry, just by the way, it just came across that Embiid has become a U.S. citizen, so he's no longer going to.
Oh, there you go. USA. With that now makes him Hall of Fame eligible at the age of 50 for the United States Athletic Hall of Fame, which you can vote on www.notinhalloffame.com/USA. See what I did there?
Yes, it does. So anyway,
Hey,
we're going to go with the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Oh yeah. Evan's good, the bad, and the ugly of sports. And I don't know, maybe we should sort of like move things, because we always end on a downer. Maybe we should do the ugly, good, and bad of sports. Nah, screw it. Good, the bad, and the ugly.
No, not this week.
Not this week.
Because
Sorry.
the good and the bad aren't that big. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. So the good, I just want to give a shout out to a friend. So I've told you guys before, I've started taking karate up again. In 2020, I started. At that point, I was being taught by a 19-year-old girl, I guess. I guess technically a woman.
Yes.
Well, I was gonna say guess girl, but I mean it could be a woman. I've known 19-year-olds are all little kids to me.
Okay. I thought this was sort of a gender thing here.
No, absolutely not.
Okay. All right.
And she had been an alternate for the Olympics, and then they redid everything, and her sister was going to go and all that stuff. Well, they had the World Championships a couple weeks ago over in London. She was there, and the Queen passed away. And she and her sister won the World Championship for team karate.
Awesome.
For women. So they had people from all over the place, and she and her sister. So congratulations to Cirrus and Skylar Lingle for their work. So I think they're 23 and 21 now.
Well done.
And both have a legitimate shot, obviously, of making the Olympics when it comes around again in 2024.
So you know what that also means there, Evan? So like next time you're in a bar, right, and someone wants to mess with you, it's like, do you know I'm trained by an Olympic karate person?
I'm trained by a world champion in karate.
Yeah.
So
or just sort of like word it differently. You know, I'm world championship trained.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah. I am a word.
They are ridiculous, the two of them. So
obviously they're that
good for them.
Yeah, no, that's great. I love that. Good.
So, and in case you're wondering, yes, their father was a weatherman with their names Cirrus and Skylar.
I wasn't wondering that at all, but okay.
Yeah. So anyway, but that's my good. The bad, I'm going to take this. First of all, I just want a quick bad that I hadn't prepared it to the Miami Dolphins for what they're doing with Tua. I hope Tua's okay. He got concussed pretty badly tonight, but he was concussed last week, and they said it was a back injury. So 4 days later, he gets concussed again. He's in the hospital. They better do right by that dude. But we got to figure this out because the Bengals beat the Dolphins tonight.
All right, so I guess I'm not watching that after the show, but okay.
Yeah, apparently. Well, I'm sorry. They hit. Well, you're working first thing in the morning. Don't tell me you're gonna watch it tonight. But Tua is in the hospital with after getting hit pretty hard. So, but my bad actually is kind of funny. On the other side of your Judge's 61st here. So the ball was hit in Toronto, and there's a guy who's sitting in the front row with his glove. And the ball landed about 2 feet short of him, and it landed in the Blue Jays bullpen, and the guy didn't get it and everything. So he's the closest guy to getting a ball that probably would have fetched him a hefty sum or some.
He wasn't gonna get it.
Hold on, but he was the closest person to it.
Yeah.
And all these pictures of he's now become a meme, kind of sad thing and everything like that. So they went and interviewed him. If you had an Italian guy who owned an Italian restaurant in Toronto,
I saw his
what would the single funniest name for him to be?
I already know the answer, so I'm gonna
Frankie Lasagna.
Yeah,
that's one of those names where they're interviewing me afterwards, like, yeah, you missed the ball, right? It's like, yeah, what's your name? And like you just panic because you don't want anyone to, come after you or remember your name. You're just like panic. Frankie what? I'm Italian, so lasagna. It just seems like a made up name. I feel bad for the guy. But yeah, he's kind of made the rounds based on his name. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm sorry, Frankie Lasagna, you missed out. He wasn't really that close, but had he caught it, it would have been not the worst day ever for him. So
no,
that's the bad.
It's an interesting bad. I thought people will say like if we did good, bad, and the ugly, and the
yeah.
But okay,
yeah, but whatever. And then the ugly. I sent you this earlier today.
You did. Yeah. Before you sort of like go into that, it's like, is this real?
It seems completely fake, but it was reported in The Athletic. Okay. So I'm presuming
It's real. I'm just going to read you this from The Athletic directly. Okay.
Yeah, please.
Now, again, as a reminder to those who have not been paying attention, because ESPN has decided that Ime Udoka's situation is much more important than what's been going on with Brett Favre.
To be fair, it is more important because it's only affecting. It's more important if you're a sports network.
I guess that is true.
Yeah, and anything else, it's not. And I say that because this affects the Boston Celtics this year. Anything Brett Favre does doesn't affect the Packers or anything in football at all.
That is true. Anyway,
I honestly think that's fair. I do agree that this should get a lot more attention. And if ESPN doesn't want to cover it as much, maybe that's not their job. I don't know. I mean, I don't fucking know. But anyway, but yeah, go on. I digress.
Right. So this is about the fact that he allegedly, and pretty obviously from what we can tell, took money from welfare recipients in Mississippi to divert it to the University of Southern Mississippi to build a new volleyball arena where his daughter was playing.
And to be fair, obviously he didn't do it, but he knew that this was being diverted.
Yes, he did know it was being diverted, right? Yeah. And the governor of Mississippi and a whole bunch of other people are involved.
Now that's the person who should be big top of name, frankly.
Yeah, Tate, whatever his name is.
That says it all right there, that we're blanking on the fucker's name. Yeah. Who did all this? But anyway, go on.
Reached at his house for comment, Brett turned on the old gunslinger charm that found itself wearing thin recently. It's just astounding the hypocrisy from some of y'all, Favre said. I mean, heck, do you support Title IX or not? Now my daughter is being persecuted from having a state-of-the-art volleyball facility because her dad worked for a living.
Please continue. There's so much more.
Favre's mental gymnastics at this point would make Svetlana Boginskaya blush. It's like you all can't have me sending messages on my phone trying to hook up with a young woman, but you don't want me trying to help them out either. Make up your minds. After one reporter pointed out this was an issue with welfare fraud, not women, Favre got more dissensus. I don't know much about welfare. All I know is that we'll fare a lot better as society once you get back to the little thing I called accountability instead of trying to take away my constitution. This is all off the record, by the way. He said after.
How does that work? Does he have to say?
You have to say ahead of time. If you're on the record,
I don't know.
If a bunch of reporters recording you say this is off the record, then fine. But
yeah, Kim Mulkey looks pretty good,
These stunning. I'm stealing money from welfare recipients is okay because if you don't think it's okay, you're against women's sports is one wonderful argument. But the better argument is that, so you're telling me I can't send dick pics to a woman, but I can't steal money from poor people to help women out either. And you're saying both are wrong. Make up your mind.
I mean, come on. If I'm sending a dick pic to my daughter, I mean, that's helping women's sports. That was the worst Brett Favre impression.
Yeah, that was bad. It was a bad analogy too.
Because Brett's was so much better. But yes.
The idea of hiding behind Title IX and then calling out, will fare better as a society once we got back to accountability? For who?
Well, not for him.
It just boggles the mind.
Imagine you're Brett Favre. I long for the simpler days when I just used to break out my old flip phone and send dick pics. Yeah.
Tate Reeves is the governor of Mississippi.
Tate Reeves, okay. Well,
he's younger than you. So
why'd you have to point that out? Make me feel great about myself. All right, yeah. Well, I've never been governor, so what the hell do I know? Or have I? But I can't write fiction better than what he just said. I mean,
it seems so made up. It just seems like I don't even know. You're like, what is the most tone deaf thing you can say? And then this like
I don't know much about welfare. All I know is that wheel fare, like turn of a phrase. Like, what are we doing here?
I don't know. I mean, maybe heard that from Tate. That sounds like an
Probably from one of his agents.
I
Tate Reeves, Tate Reeves, I've heard speak. He doesn't seem like much of a wordsmith either.
Okay, I don't know.
But
this is ridiculous. Like, this is. I don't understand the logic of this, man. Having said that, if it wasn't for Brett Favre, I've not said this before, I'll say it again, the Saints wouldn't be a Super Bowl champion.
okay.
Yeah, that's true. When Favre was a Viking, and then he pretty much the Saints.
Oh, true.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with that. Yeah. Okay. No, a lot less mental gymnastics. I don't even need a Bolganskaya to do that one.
Yeah. That's just the Will Rogers collery, right? When you're in a hole, quit digging. Like, he's not just digging, he's taking an excavator to the whole thing.
This guy's like, there's so many tone deaf people, and a lot of people become that, especially. I don't know how Brett Favre grew up. I don't know if he grew up poor, middle class, rich. I would think so, but he's been rich a lot longer than he's been poor. So he's certainly forgotten whatever roots that he may or may not have come from, with a dumbass comment like that. And Favre, I guess maybe because he had like probably one of the best work ethics of any football player ever. I think we can agree on that, or close to.
Sure.
Yeah. And you're not hearing anyone saying what a shitty teammate he was, actually from nobody. I've never heard that. Brett wanted to win, but like, this is the shit that you just don't know. And all of this was so preventable. Like, you don't need the money this bad. You don't. There's no way you need the money this bad.
You think it'd be hard for him to raise money for this if he put his name behind it?
It wouldn't be hard for him at all. There's piles of people who would actually legitimately would have paid to hear him speak.
Yeah. And we live in a country where people are donating money to Kylie Jenner so she can become the first female self-made billionaire, right?
True.
Yeah. Like, we're living in a country where people just want to be associated with celebrity in any way, shape, or form. If he wanted $5 million for this, he could have gotten millions easily.
And yet he's talking about people being lazy. And look what he became. Like this, like, he couldn't even be bothered to do where did this all start from? Speeches he didn't bother to give? I don't know the whole story behind it, but.
Basically, yeah.
Okay. Like,
well, that was the cover for the money, that he was going to give speeches and they were paying him.
Oh, okay. Either way, but you're right. Like, he could have done just, hi, I'm Brett Favre, and I'm going to speak here. Like, this is the charity I'm working for. Ta-da! Done.
Mm-hmm.
Done. You could go to a lot of the businesses in the South or whatever, like, oh, you got Brett Favre? Howdy, hook me up. Sorry if that sounded sort of bad, but seriously, that would. Like, it's not that difficult to sort of do this. And yeah, the leap that he says, like, well, I'm just trying to help out my daughter by getting her a good volleyball facility because
yeah. What do you mean? I can't send dick pics to women. I can't steal money from poor people to help women get a facility that they can play a sport in. There's nothing I can do here. I can't win either way.
You brought up Ime Udoka. Apparently, they think this is way worse. Matt Barnes.
I know it probably is way worse. Yeah. So we just don't know it.
Yeah, but yeah, just so quick. So like, Matt Barnes did something on DJ Vlad, and more or less said like it's way worse, and just left it at that. And shit, it's a pretty bad fall from grace. Out of being the it coach.
Yeah.
Being the shit coach. He's done.
He may very well be. It's just crazy because, yeah.
Yeah. And all Doc Rivers is saying, like, I just like some porn pics on Twitter. Like, thanks, man.
Rick Pitino came back. There's no way Ime
should be able to come back. So we'll see.
I don't know. I mean, that's one. In some ways, I kind of wish that story doesn't come out. Like, I just don't want to know. I'm tired of this shit. I really am. I haven't even bothered wanting to look more into it. I just don't want to.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Anyway, so that's all I got.
Okay, cool. So I haven't been recording as much because damn, I got to work. But it's funny you brought up Creed earlier. Well, guess what we just talked about on How the Hell Did This Go #1? Want to take a guess?
With Arms Wide Open.
That's right. We did. So we looked at that. That's going to be dropping soon on How the Hell Did This Go #1. There'll be some other shows coming shortly. I am in the process of trying to put together a lot of other stuff. Evan and I would love to have you for our football discussion. That's going to probably happen, I think, the last Monday and the last Tuesday, I believe, in October. I'll send you details on that, Evan.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it's the last, okay, my son's birthday is the 24th, so just don't do it that day.
Okay, I'll look to see what sort of we're looking at that, but we'll make something work. Maybe it's a Monday, that's fine. But basically what that is, it's where we have a mock committee and we act as if we are the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and we are going to just come up with our semifinalists. It's a lot of fun. It's a long show, but if you really care about football and the Pro Football Hall of Fame process, there's a lot of great people on it. And we are really looking for people of different fan bases, different perspectives, different age groups. A lot of us are, with the exception of Vinny Laspinuso, who's only 22, I believe. Most of us are between, we're in a certain age, which is sort of more reflective of the actual people who are voting on this, saying that, hey, women, where are you at? I know maybe we're not drawing them based on this mug, but maybe Evans. Maybe.
I have been told I have piercing eyes, so.
I've been told I have Betty Davis eyes. That went #1. Maybe I should do that. But either way, we want people of different fan groups, just different points of view, or look like us, but have a different point of view. How about that?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that always makes it a far more interesting show, because we welcome new points of view. We really want it, and that's going to be coming soon. So if you want to be part of it, hit us up. With that, hey, Evan, I wrote a book.
You did?
I did, yeah. Chavo Guerrero, instant classic. Check that out on Amazon. It's about Chavo Guerrero Sr. And I had the pleasure of writing his autobiography and helping him out with that. So you can get that. I think that's pretty much it. My plugging is done.
Excellent.
There you go. So with that, wherever you are.
Just one quick moment. Just a minute for our thoughts and prayers go out to the folks in Florida.
Yes.
With everything that went on with Ian, also to the folks of Puerto Rico with everything that went on with Fiona a few weeks ago. But yeah, it's both situations are super, super bad. So I'm not going to tell anyone what to do with their money, but if there is a charity of your choice that may be able to help, this is the time. If you have money set aside for that, these are the times that you put it aside for. So
that's awesome. Yeah, no, and that's really good. We should do stuff like that more often. But thank you all. Thank you all for paying attention, and wherever you are, wherever you may be, stay safe. This is the Buchnerverse. See what I did there? The Buchnerverse, right?
bye, guys.